what's going on, y'all? T-Bob here.
And Jake as well.
And you're about to watch a little OTB LSU.
We're going to give you all the latest, greatest between LSU football, baseball, women's basketball, softball, and everything in between.
Bottom line, if you want to talk Tigers, keep it locked, subscribe, like it, and we hope you enjoy LSU Grambling tomorrow. What are you looking for? Obviously, there's something like we talked about. You're not going to draw any sweeping conclusions from this game. You're not going to make anybody feel better. But for those of us nerds that really do want to, get in the weeds and engage in LSU talk, like, what are you going to be looking for? Off the bat, one thing I would be looking for is simply the return game. Some semblance of a pulse, better blocking, better returning. If you can't threaten Grambling with a return, then what the hell are we doing there? Fair. I'm not even going to give you too much credit if you're super successful here, because again, you're going to be out athleting them by such a degree that you should trip and fall into return game success. So one of my metrics is the return game has to be successful this game.
I agree with you. I agree with you. If you can't do it here, then when? You can't. That's the answer.
You can't, then you're just done.
You're just going to be like you were a year ago, where it's fair catch, hope you catch it, and there's no threat of a return. So that's certainly a good one. I would go maybe an individual player, and I'll go Chris Hilton.
Okay.
I want to see Chris Hilton take the top off the defense, stretch the field. I want to see him line up, one-on-one coverage, Jaden catch the football, hit his back foot, and just throw.
Yeah.
Just throw it as far as you can.
Yeah. Let
me see number 17 go and get the football. He did it in camp consistently. I know that's certainly his skill set, right? I don't pretend to know, how he runs dig routes or how he runs a slant. But one thing I know he can do is go get the football, and that terrifies defenses and defense coordinators. So I would like to see him in there with the first group, and it sounds like we are going to get that opportunity according to Brian Kelly. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Mario, what about you?
I want to see the O-line impose its will a little bit more. They got very little push in the first half, and they got pushed around in the second half. I'd like to see them run the ball with somebody not named Jaden Daniels against an inferior opponent.
Yeah, they're going to do that. I wouldn't trust about that. That offensive line is going to that's going to be a damn good offensive line. Even game one, like you said, they didn't do much in the run game. Though I would have loved to see a little more power encounter, especially after watching the Lions last night. But yeah, I would say that you will emerge pleased then. Hopefully. Saturday. What about you, Taylor?
Yeah, all these big-time young recruits coming in. Shelton Sampson, Jalen Brown, I want to see them at receiver. Ashton Stamps, who we heard a lot about. Yeah. It would have been a tough spot to throw him in there on the road against Florida State, I get it, but he played really well in fall, had one of the best fall camps of anyone. I want to see Trey Holly and Caleb Jackson carry the football a little bit, see what they can do. Zalance Hurd running with the ones, which yesterday at Kelly's press conference, he kind of alluded to that happening a lot this week. So,
really?
A lot of the younger guys, I just want to see what they can do.
So that's an interesting talking point that I don't think we've talked about here. And Jake, I feel like you've kind of alluded to it, but I've never really dove into it. And one good thing about this staff, for all the frustration coming out of game one, is that we know from past actions that they will not fall in to the sunken cost fallacy, right?
Right.
Just because they thought this is the best way forward, they will allow the evidence in front of them to change that. And you may say, well, yeah, shouldn't everybody? But not everybody does. Right, a lot of times you become beholden to these ideas that you've already formed, and it's like, well, the ideas, it didn't work out perfectly, but it could be better, so we're going to stick with it. This staff kind of goes the opposite direction, where they will use these games especially to make these sweeping changes to try to find the best mixture, and maybe Emory Jones bumping down to guard and Lance Hurd playing right tackle would be kind of in keeping with that theory, or even Brian Thomas getting more of an opportunity. Chris Hilton, excuse me.
It's more of an NFL mindset. In the NFL, there's a handful of guys that know they're safe for the entire season, but there's also a large percent of the team that knows every single day, every single week, they have to go out there and perform or they won't have a job. Now, in the NFL, you get cut. In college, you just get benched. That's why we always tell the stories on Mondays. You go in there to watch film, and you're looking at which positions are out there working out as far as free agents that they brought in over the weekend. You're like, tight end, receiver, punter, fullback, damn it, right?
Yeah.
It's like that's what it is. And so this staff kind of has that mindset. Hey, here's what we thought it was going to be, but if you don't live up to that standard, we have got to shuffle the deck a little bit. And in years past, like, I mean, certainly with Coach Miles, it's like, man, try something different. Try something. Like, you've got this young player, and I realize it's maybe not as comfortable, but the ceiling can be higher. And what's out there right now is just not getting to the standard of what you want. So this staff showed last year that they will make wholesale changes from one game to another.
Yeah, and so I want to see what those changes are. One of them would be, how would you use Harold Perkins? Does he look more comfortable when he does move into coverage? Omar Spate saying in media availability earlier this week that he thinks that Perkins will be playing off of the edge more, right? So obviously you want to see improvement out of Perkins. I want to see the DBs, and again, they're not going to prove anything to anybody who's just done with this group, but the DBs in particular, I think, represent the kind of takeaway tagline of this was more about FSU being good, because I don't think the DBs are awful. Like, I know Deuce Chestnut's pretty good, right? Like, I think Zy Alexander is pretty good. I don't know how they're going to do against the elite, but in the majority of the schedule, they should have success. And so with that in mind, nobody's going to love you for playing well this game, but I'm going to be watching you to see if you start to prove that tagline correct, right? Prove that, no, this was more about them just maybe being more talented, but that we're still really talented ourselves.
Yeah, you just went against two really good receivers, and you don't need to undervalue those receivers. And they're unique just by their body type.
I mean, 167. Right?
You're not going to face another one of those guys the rest of the year. You're just not going to. And if you're looking for, and this isn't sunshine pumping, it's encouragement of the DBs, I think, being in a position. Now, you'd still like them to go make the play regardless of how tall or how big or how physical a receiver is, but Major Burns was right there in the end zone on one of the touchdowns. Deuce Chestnut was right there, had good coverage. He just didn't make the play.
No.
The better athlete went and made the play. You'll face some of that, but that group for Florida State is a unique receiver room because of their size, speed, and what they're able to go out there and do. And if you weren't in position to make the play, if it was busted coverages all over the place, that would be more concerning. I mean, when I watched the tape, it wasn't busted coverages. It was a guy being 3-4 yards off of his spot.
Yeah. And
at
that's
every
something
level.
you can fix this weekend.
That's something you have to fix this weekend. The zone coverage has to be much better as far as your landing marks, where you get to, because the quarterback is throwing in windows. Well, you're supposed to be in a window. If you're not, it makes it easier for the quarterback. That's elementary.
Wow, Jake, what incredible takes.
I mean, those guys, they're just the best.
I think so. And if you think so, again, hit the like button, subscribe, ring the bell so you get notifications when we post every single day here on OTB LSU.